Alright guys, welcome back to the channel, welcome back into another video. Penultimate destination, big word used from the boy. Penultimate destination for EZA a la Rose against Shadow Dragon SYN. It's going to be his toughest test to date, but I still have hope he's going to do just as fine. And this, I can't even lie, this is actually a pretty good starting rotation for us. Pretty decent starting rotation for us. No 18 key on Rose and Zamasu, but they are going to super at least, and they are going to be guarding. I've got Strength Rose with us just because I've brought him here. Okay, that's perfect. You super him. That is going to do nothing. I've brought him in here before, and he actually does fairly okay. So I thought, why not bring him this time around? And at least we can actually use the support with EZA a la Rose and have that going on. The only thing is they're not going to link. That is the only downside. They're not going to link together, but why not? Why not? We'll be fine. We'll be fine. I use items, so we're going to be fine. But it's going to be the hardest test because, of course, SYN does a lot of damage and a lot of damage from the beginning. But EZA a la Rose has like no build up. Has no build up. Yeah, we don't have to wait for him. He just does exactly what he needs to do when he needs to do it. The only thing is, they don't link. They don't link. But I mean, regardless, even if we did do this, Rose still doesn't have big bad bosses active because of Zamasu. So I mean, this part kind of doesn't matter. But we should be good. But that does mean we do have two units that both need a finishing blow. But judging by how much damage Rose is going to do to SYN, and also we don't even get an 18 key off because there's no links with Strength Rose, I don't think we're going to even get anywhere near getting Strength Rose his finishing blow. Big double from Zamasu, I'll take that. So I've been by my boy. You know I'm talking about you, Ben, my boy, my guy. Has done some calcs for my Rose, two dupes. And apparently, when Rose double supers with big bad bosses, no support, we'll have like around about 902k defense, give or take, which is pretty good. I know we're getting to the point with content where even a millie's not looking like enough, but realistically, you're never going to have a unit or a new EZA drop that's going to have like almost the same amount of defense as the new big enemies hitting with. So kind of neither here nor there to me, unless they have like that amount of defense with damage reduction or guard or both or whatever. Which of course he doesn't have. I'm actually going to float them. You'll float too. So yeah, mine has like 902k defense, no support, big bad bosses, the full works. Off of a double, which I think is pretty good. Kind of makes sense why he took 300k from Broly, because that's still 1.4 million on a super. But it makes sense why he took that. But that's still, to me, that's still good. He survives, which is the important part. He might not tank it for nothing or almost nothing, but he survives and he doesn't get you killed nor the rest of the team killed, which is good while doing the insane amounts of damage that he does as well. Which, even though we haven't got it too often, having a 50% chance to crit with having just shy of a 16 million attack stat, with pretty much 95% of the time a guaranteed additional, that's insane amounts of damage. Like, that's dumb. The fact he even has a possibility to crit is stupid. And we might not even get to see Rose on the AGL phase because we are flying through with damage right now. But this is what I mean. This team does this much damage that he may be one of the weaker links when it comes to defense on this team. But you're doing so much damage and everyone else tanks so well that it kind of doesn't matter. Unless you get really unlucky. Unless you get really unlucky. And then if we do triple like we did against Cooler Core, which 900k to me while having type disadvantage on a 1.6 mil super isn't that bad, even though we do technically get one shot, or we did get one shot. He had like 1.128, give or take, which to me, again, is still pretty good. So he's tanking all basics in the game for nothing. He's tanking most of the super attacks in the game and surviving, apart from the top ones, which again is, if you're a no item runner, then that might be an issue for you. If you use items like I do because they're in the game, they're there to be used, they're there to be taken advantage of, he survives. He actually tanks really well with an item once he's doubled, and especially once he's triple supered. So I'm good with that. Now, this is techie. So we're gonna have to pop an item because, of course, he has type disadvantage, and just to make it a little bit worse, and we're being AoE'd before he supers. So a Whis is kind of a must, but with the way this fight goes and also Zamasu, this is kind of becoming the usual. 189 is still a ton of damage to take, even with a Whis. The thing that's techie is SYN can do multiple of these. And he is. 5 dodge. Give me the 5 dodge. No? Okay. I mean, at least we might actually be able to see his active this time round, which is a good thing. But this is where it can get techie for him. Type disadvantage, AoEs before he supers, and multiple of them. Now, if those AoEs came after he supered, he'd actually be fine. Like, he would be completely fine. But yeah, those AoEs are kind of dangerous. They are dangerous. Big crit though, and of course going to follow up with the additional. We got super attacked at this point. I mean, we do have a Whis active, so we'd actually tank it fairly fine. Oh, he is. Okay, cool. Cool. I mean, we have next to no HP left, so why not just dig a little bit more? Oh, damn. I mean, do you know what? 291k is not bad. It's just obviously we had next to no HP because of all the AoEs. But if we didn't get absolutely battered by AoEs, 291k on, I think, a 1.3 mil super with type disadvantage and a Whis, he would have been completely fine. But we'll run it. We'll rerun it. We'll run it back up. We'll run it back up. All right, we're back in. We do have a Whis already active from the previous rotation. We did actually get his... What's it called? His finishing blow active this time around. So he does have the key +6. He does have his 50% chance to crit. As I said again, we do have a Whis active right now. We have... All right, we only have one, literally just one. We only have one group attack to worry about before he supers. So this is actually perfect. Because this way he actually gets a super attack. He gets all of his defense that he gets on supers. We're guaranteed to get the additional. We could potentially triple, but we get... Oh, the 5 dodge! Oh, we'd have to worry about knee grouper attack before he super attacks. Get that shit on my face. We put out the 5 dodge. Hold that. Hold that. But either way, before he actually gets hit by... I mean, he could dodge again. Who knows? But before he actually gets hit with one of these group attacks, he does have... Or he does get a super attack. Now I kind of wish I didn't have an item active, but you can't predict these things. I did also take Rose off the team, the strength Rose, just because he wasn't linking, and I was like, let me just get someone who's like safe. So Golden Freezer's back. Big 9.1 mil crit. Can we get the double? Double super double crit? Love that. Triple? Damn. This will do nothing because of the Whis. Even if we didn't have a Whis active, as I said, by my boy, Ben. Love you, bro. Giving me the defensive calcs for my Rose with 2 dupes, he would have 900, just over 900k defense there. So that literally wouldn't have done any damage. That wouldn't have done any damage, nor would SYN's basics on this phase either with the type advantage. So I was talking about him getting caught. I mean, he can still get caught just because of how hard enemies are hitting in the game. You know, you're looking at 1.6 plus. And funny enough, 3 of the hardest hitting enemies in the game, funny enough, is Cooler Core, SYN, but that's because he starts off difficult. There's no build up to him, but we've kind of got the same thing with Zamasu now. Yeah, we'll pop this. But you know what? We're gonna die unless I use a Whis, because there's 2 group attacks, and then you have these 2. But 3 of the hardest hitting enemies in the game, or 3 of the most difficult stages in the game, Rose has type disadvantage against all of them. You have Cooler Court, who we've already seen. You have SYN, who has AoEs, which is a massive pain because he AoEs a lot of the time, or can AoE multiple times in one turn. But then you have the possibility of them being before he supers, so before he gets all of his defense or the majority of it. And as you can see, he can take damage even with an item active. Which I feel like the AoEs are getting a little cheap. Like, yes, it makes things difficult, but I feel like they're really adding them in a lot of the time just to make things difficult for the sake of being difficult as a gimmick. Like, do something else. Like he already, like Zamasu, for example, already hits really hard. Like that whole Dismal Future edition of Red Zone was just copy and paste of short, ultra difficult content that hits really hard. And we already have AoE like difficult enemies. Why don't you just throw something else in there? But that's a different discussion for a different day. But then you have Zamasu, whose AoEs literally always happen in, there's one, but they always happen in slot 1. So again, before he super attacks and they're doing 500k, which is a problem, and he does them every turn guaranteed a lot of the time, typically in slot 1. But then his final phase, where he's doing 1.8 million on a super, he has type disadvantage. So 3 of the hardest hitting enemies in the game, 2 of them have AoEs, and all 3 of them that hit from 1.3, 1.6, and then 1.8 or so, Rose has type disadvantage against every single one of them. Every single one he is weak to. I mean, we might not survive it. We might do. We do still have the Whis active and the domain. I mean, how many group attacks? I think all 3 of them are literally there. But yeah, every single difficult enemy in the game he has type disadvantage to. And 2 of them have AoEs. So I mean, content-wise, it's not looking good, bruv. For Rose, it's not looking good. It's not looking good, bruv. Well, he still absolutely cleans house damage-wise. He still absolutely just cleans up. Which I'm a big fan of. Big fan of. So yeah, the game's just against my boy right now. It is against him. It is against him. All 3 of the hardest stages in the game are currently he has type disadvantage against. But either way, he's actually done really well in all of them. He's actually done really well in all of them. As I said, Cooler Core, if we just used an item, he would have survived. He actually has almost enough defense off of a triple super to handle a SYN super. It's the AoEs that catch you because a lot of the time they're coming before he supers, before he gets any defense, which is not really his fault. But yeah, he can actually handle SYN's basics and supers almost if he triples. Basics he can handle anyway. But again, if you use an item, he's tanking them for double digits. Like, again, especially if you triple, but he's tanking them for double digits. We didn't get to see the active skill again, which is a shame, but what can you do? I did say that would be an issue with him. So even though the odds are stacked against him, he still actually performs really well. He can tank quite well. Tons of damage. The master, though, is going to be difficult. Because even though there's only 1 AoE, 500k before he super attacks is going to do a ton of damage. And then he has type disadvantage against the final phase. So it's not looking good for him, I'll be completely honest. It's not looking good for him. But, you know, we're going down a route of AoEs. But once again, let me know your thoughts down in the comments. I'll see you in the next video, guys. Take care, have a good rest of your day. And peace.